Okay, so we're moving on now to section 2 of our linear perspective, formal linear perspective studies. And we're going to spend a little time now with the next lessons, probably 7, 8 or so lessons now, working on stairs and working on inclined and declined vanishing points. I think it's something that you want to be familiar with, since the last exercise we just did a 2-point home. And we talked a little bit about stairs, but now I think it's a good time to get into the stairs a little bit more, if you will, and go further, because you'll use stairs a lot in your drawing and sketching, and you want to be familiar with their perspective structure so that when you go to sketch them in relaxed drawing, sketching, or simple form perspective, or even formal linear perspective, you have a really good opportunity to make an accurate portrayal. So this is going to be a lesson. This first one, we're going to do a couple of different side views on stairs, and let's just start in, and I'll just show you as we go along. So the first thing I'm going to do is set a very informal horizon line somewhat down the center of the page. I'm cropped in a little bit on my paper so that you can see it a little bit easier and cleaner. We're going to kind of delay drawing the fundamental for the center of vision, eye line, station point, and our cone for a while. We don't necessarily need them right at the moment. We're going to put now a horizon line here, so I'll just label it HL here, horizon line, which is the same thing as our eye level, since we're going to be in one point. And we're going to do a side view of stairs first. I think it's going to be easiest just to get familiar with it. Let's put the vanishing point over to the side somewhere here. I want to make sure I keep it in the camera. Let's put our VP here. I'll draw nice and darker so we can get set in. Now, we're going to put our first set of stairs here, and then we're going to build another set here, and then we're going to put some. Ultimately, I may have to go to another page, and we'll put some in the sky plane, ground plane and sky plane too. I want you to see that. I think that's very important. So the first thing I'm going to do is just set down the bottom of the stairs here, and we'll just set them here. So I've got a line there. Okay, there's no perspective in that. That's pretty easy, right there. All right, so we've got that. Now I'm going to change color. The first thing I want to get across to you is that we're going to be creating an auxiliary, an implied, quote unquote, an implied incline vanishing point, but because it will be further away, I'm not going to show it so much. It's got a little blurry there. But what I want to keep in mind is that it's going to be there in different views, but because we're at a side view of stairs, we won't necessarily see it. So all the inclinations or inclined planes are all going to be at 45 degrees, which makes it kind of easier. I think it's a good way to introduce this concept to get started. So I've got a 45-degree triangle here. Here's 90, right? Here's 45, here's 45. So I'm going to use this angle, and I'm going to use a blue pencil for today, and we're going to create our first inclined plane up, like so. Okay, so I'm going to create a blue line like that. Now, it's got to flow through this line right there. That's going to give us our first inclined direction for our stair. So we're going to be creating an inclined plane that the risers and the treads will all hit. That'll make a little bit more sense in a moment, I promise. I promise. All right, now we're going to bring up the riser. So when I talk about risers of stairs, anything that goes vertical, the treads are going to be what your feet actually step on, so they'll be generally horizontal. So we're going to bring up the riser length now, and I'll just bring it up to any length I want. I'll bring it up maybe this distance. Okay, I don't know what that distance is. It doesn't really matter. It's just a distance, okay, from that point over. Now from this point over, we're going to go right back to our blue sloped 45-degree line running through there, and I better put that on there. So this will go out. That'll be number 1 right there. And all these are at 45 degrees, 45-degree triangle. All right, now we're going to put another sloped line on our next point here at 45. So right here, That will be our next slope. So we're going to put our triangle on that and draw through that. That's going to give us where our risers and our treads come together right there. That's at 45 degrees too. That's inclined too. These are all parallel now. So all of these, I'm going to write that down so you can write that down in your notes here. So in this side view, all inclines are parallel. All inclines are parallel. That means they're never going to touch each other in the side view. Now that won't be the case when we get into turning stairs later on. Alright, so now we have that. So what we want now is to start to begin to take up, since we can take up as many risers as we want to a certain point and then bring them back down to here. So let's do that now. So once we have that set in, so we can say maybe we want about four or five steps. So we can come here, bring our riser up, stop where our incline is, then bring our tread over, stop to where our blue incline line is there. Those are equal. Those are all equal spaces now to each other. So we'll bring up another incline, then another tread over here, and then we'll do, how about one more? Then we'll bring up one more incline, okay, a riser, and another tread. Maybe we'll do one, but we'll do five. We'll do 5 steps. And then our last one here, and then our riser. There's our riser, and then our tread, and then we can stop there, or we could go for another thickness if you want. It depends on what you want. Usually, let's make this one a little bit thicker. We'll make it as thick as that since I have it there. Since we're coming up on a platform here. So we'll come up a little bit, and then I'll meet these two lines together, and bingo. All right, so now we can start using our vanishing point for depth. So let's take all of these points back to our vanishing point, and then we can create a distance for how long we want our stairs to go back into space. Okay, so what that means is now from each point here of our stairs, we're going to be going to our vanishing point, creating diminishment. And I kicked the vanishing point off from center to give us, so we can have a little bit longer view of that. It would be close to being outside of the cone, but that's okay. It gives us a little nice, longer, lengthy dimension. So we're inclining up to this platform of 5 steps here. So from each point here, let's go back to our vanishing point that we're using here, obviously, and then here, and then we have one more on the inside. If we're looking through, we're looking see-through, right in there. That's important to have too. All right, so we want to create how far in distance, in depth, we want our stairs to be. So I'm going to just arbitrarily make it about this long. Seems reasonable. I'm going to put a little dot there, okay? And then I'll draw in blue back to the inside here. That will be where we want that to end, right there, okay? Then of course later on I can bring it up now too if we want. That'll be the back and through here, like we're creating a cube all the way back to there. There's our back point. It touches our front through there. We could bring that up too, but we won't. Now what we're going to do is recreate another incline, just like we did here and here. We're going to create it off this line, and that's going to be 45 degrees, and that's going to be our third incline up. Now, if I colored these planes in, they would feel like little, like we laid a plank over the top of the stairs. That's what that would feel like. So we have our third line here, third incline, and I'll demarcate that as number 3, right through there. There we go. That's going to tell us where we're going to be starting now, raising up to here. So now we're going to bring a vertical up, just like we did here, right? Up, and then we're going to draw another incline as well. So this gives you, it's like giving you a structure guide to where you want to lay in and keep your slope consistent in perspective as we have depth. Now we're going to bring up our riser. We're going to stop where it meets the diminishment line. Okay. Now, how far do we go over? We know how far to go over because we stop right there. Right there. Correct? There we go. Bingo. But now we have a problem. I need, how far up do I come here? I could stop here. Or I could put a blue line here. I'm just going to put another blue line to show you what we have in terms of usage of perspective of our slope. This again is at 45 degrees. Right there, they're all parallel. Number 4, right there. Now we've got good control of our stairs. You can kind of see them start to emerge here already in our composition. Okay. So we'll come up. Let me get my graphite pencil. We'll come up. I would highly suggest really keeping your pencils very sharp, very clean. We'll come up here. Excuse me. Whew. It's winter time. I've got a little bit of a sniffle. There we go. And then we'll connect these here. Then we know where to bring it over. These lines can get confusing. This line here goes back to our corner here, so you've got to be very thorough with your perspective right there. There's your tread right there. Let's bring up our next riser right there. Okay. Let's bring up our next tread against our blue line right there. We know where to stop it. That's what slope helps for. So this is slope. Right, these are all slope. The slope. And I'm just setting these stairs at 45 degrees. That may or may not be standard to code of buildings, but it looks good, at least in our drawing. So that's okay for now. All right, so now we have a longer platform, right? So we're going to bring it back and end up right perfect. Look at that, right there on our platform. And if you've done it with me, congratulations, you've done your first set of stairs. So let's darken this in and talk a little bit about what we did. So we set in not only the base of where we wanted it, it's in 1 point perspective, right? But we also set in the height of the riser too as well. We brought back the end of the tread, the riser, into our slope at 45 degrees. Now you could have done that at 60. That might have been tougher to climb, or 30. Would have been a lower incline, or 15, but 45 seemed reasonable. And we managed to control through slope and perspective the look and height of our stairs, right? With these slopes and with these blue lines. Instantaneously drawing stairs already when you're just sketching them out. And that's the point of doing all this, is to get refreshed, is to get structure under your belt so that when you go to sketch, you can visualize these things in your head fast and quick and say, oh, I've seen this before in my notes or my studies, or I've done this before. I know how to figure this out, and really conquer some of your drawing problems. Well, hopefully all of them in time with enough practice and enough work for sure. Okay, let's go on to another one, and I'm going to put this one next to it. I'm going to sharpen my pencil here, keep that nice and sharp. And let's go on to another, and we're going to put this one, this will be stairs number 1. Here, I'll label it so we can see it. This is stairs number 1. Right. Stairs 1. And let's do another set, but let's do them where they're in the ground plane and the sky plane at the same time. We see that quite often when we draw stairs and we're sketching. So let's see that. Let's put another vanishing point. This was BP1 for stairs 1. Let's put one just here. It's random. I'm going to put another vanishing point since we're on the horizon line. This obviously this will be our center of vision. This was for this drawing. This one's here. So this is this VP number 2, and this will be for stairs number 2. And these we'll put in the ground plane and the sky plane so you can see how that works together. So let's put the baseline of our stairs. We'll put a little bit higher here. Or no, let's put it on the same demarcation here. That's fine. I'll just draw a lighter line all the way across. You can see that. And then let's put in our stairs. Oh, let's start it here across, and that's just an arbitrary length. It can change a little bit as we go. Now we're going to still go with our 45-degree slope, and so I get out my 45-degree ruler, or excuse me, my triangle, and my blue or colored pencil. You can use a lighter pencil if you want, and I'm just going to recreate this slope we did here. Okay, there we go. And we'll come on through. We're going to go up higher because we're going to bisect and go up higher than our certainly our horizon line. Couldn't think there for a moment. Okay, so let's set now our risers. So let's say how high do we want them? We're going to set them a lot taller since I've got more room to go. So we'll set these pretty thick actually. Let's set them. How about that thick? So that'll give us 1, 2, 3. Let's go even thicker. Pretty thick, about right there. Seems good. Okay? So I'll just demarcate that. Now all I have to do is bring them over and touch our 45-degree. And again, that could be a different degree right there. There's we meet there. Now let me set the slope in for where our risers meet our tread. Right there. Okay, that's where I'll put our 45-degree all the way up. You see that? So I'll put these, number these slopes in. You'll have 4. That's number 1. That's number 2. These are at 45 degrees. Let me also demarcate this a little bit. This is the riser that goes up, and this is the tread, and that's where you tread on something, you walk on something. Okay, so we have that. Now we can start to set in all our stair steps. That's 2. Good. We'll get in about 4, I think. That'll be perfect right there. Remember, stop when you meet the height. Stop when you meet the length for the tread. Now we're going to go above the horizon line or eye level here. Okay, we'll come through there. And I think I'll get in the way a little bit here. Let's see if I can get over there. Hopefully I have enough space in our camera. Let's see if we do. If not, we'll just do 3. Looks like we'll have just enough space to do 4. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, that's still in the camera. Good. So now I'll have to darken this in, make this a little bit darker. There we go. And I'm going to leave that as the ending space. Notice this one is a little bit longer, probably twice this one. And we'll just leave that the same. It could be that. It's totally fine. There we go. All right. Okay, so our next fundamental problem now is to create depth. We need depth now going from the vanishing point. We need diminishment from our stair steps. So let me sharpen my pencil. You can sharpen yours, and we'll work all our treads and our risers in the back of our stairs, and we'll work those to vanishing point number 2. So let me get my longer see-through ruler, and we'll just take it slow, and we'll work our way through here. All right, so from the bottom here, we'll go to vanishing point 2. Same thing here. All right, and there. Side view of stairs. Pretty easy so far. And 1 point here. And back to, now we're above, right? And we'll go from this point back to our vanishing point here, and same thing here, through here. There we go. All right. And now we need it from back here, too, as well. So there we go. Back to VP2. And there we go. Now we've got diminishment set in as we're converging in depth. We're going deeper now, back into space. It'll diminish. It'll get smaller in look because of perspective. Now let's set in how deep we want it. And I think here seems reasonable enough, I suppose. Right there, I'll put a little dot right there. Okay, that means that's the end of our stairs right here. Now I'll use a blue line so you can see it. And we'll go back to our back end of our stairs right in through there. And let's go ahead and bring that up. And we're going to meet up with our back line through here, and that's the end of our stairs right there. Okay, so we've got that. It's almost like an L shape, isn't it? Well, it totally is an L shape. Okay, now let's bring out and bring up the first riser in space. Oh, before we do that, right, let's control this corner. We need that for slope number 3. Okay, so let's make sure your T-square is tied in. You just slide your 45 over to where they meet. Bring it on up. Bingo, that's your third slope right there. Make sure we're in the camera. We are. Nothing worse than drawing out of the camera. That doesn't serve any purpose, right? Okay, there's 3. And so now we have the spatial control to know where our risers are. That's very important, where our riser and our tread meets. So we meet here, okay, up in perspective, right? Where they'll hit, okay, right here, and we'll stop. And we need one more slope for that. We have inside and outside, and we're good to go. Now we're locked in. That's a good feeling when you get it all locked in. So number 4, right there. Remember, these are all 45 degrees. And so now we can bring our tread over, and the line's nicely right there. Okay, and now let's bring our riser up here a little bit. Okay. Coming into here. Don't get distracted. I almost wanted to go to that line. I said, well, wait a minute. So it all gets confusing when there's so many lines. Take it slow. Don't take it to here, take it to here. Take it to right there. That's what your guides are for in perspective. They're your helpers. All right, let's take our next tread over. Right there, they line up nicely. Let's take our next riser up, up, up. We're rising up from here to that ending of that point in space. It's almost like it's done for you. You just have to pay attention to where the lines are. Now we're going inside because we're going into and looking in perspective. So where do we go? We're going to go right in through and cut. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're going to go right up. We missed 1. I need a convergence line from this corner. Okay, so I have to go back and redo a step. This is a good learning point. The reason why is we're looking inside now transparently to the stairs. I need that to connect up for me. Where that goes into space. There they are right there. Okay, right there. There's our next tread. Okay, now where do we come up? We've got to be a detective right through here, over, right to there. Let me put little dots so you can see it. That's where we go to. It gets a little confusing, but we want to manage it. Right there. There we go. Up. And we're kind of connect this through now. Now, let's step back and take a look, and let's darken in what we see, because this can get a little confusing. So what I'm going to do now is lighten this up a little bit here. I'll take my Japanese mono eraser and erase this lighter. And I want to erase it out because that's important to show, but just a little bit lighter because it's the outer edge that we want in perspective. This is another good lesson in terms of darkening in only the parts of your drawing that we want to see. So let's actually start here, and I'm going to darken that in, right? And here, okay, and here. And the reason why this is looking through now, because we're above the sky level, the horizon line in the sky plane, we're looking through. Here we don't have that. Here now, this is above us. We're looking up to it. This now is below in terms of our stairs. I think that can get very confusing in the beginning if you're not sure about what you're seeing. And that's why perspective is important, to give you that integrity of spatial clarity so that you can build a experience vocabulary. That's a good term to use. The experience of getting drawing time in, or drawing mileage, so that you can see these forms more clearly when you sketch them out. If you can draw them from the outside and the inside out, you'll understand even better to where to place forms, and you can do it out of your head, which is another goal of mine, to make whoever wants to study with me and work, especially my students in NKU, but in YouTube land, really strong draftsmen and women and men. That's important to me. Is to continue to pass on the craft of structural drawing and drawing proper, and then you can do whatever you want with it in a more creative fashion, because the point is to understand these lessons and then get to really strong creative solutions. So all I'm doing now is, as you know, just darkening in all of this so that we can see this even further. So let me finish out the back of our stairs, and then maybe we can do a little shading of these. Right there's the end of the back. And so we used a 45-degree slope measuring point. Very easy with our ruler, right? And you found the arbitrary length of the stairs you want. We'll do an exercise in about 3 or 4 lessons from now where we do exact measuring with the ground measuring line, and so you can actually get some full, clear measuring of how small or how large these stairs are, and how deep you want them to, just like we've done with the 1-point room. It's actually quite easy. So let's do a little bit of shading here. So I'll shade in just the risers here so you can start to see them in space here. So we have riser, and then we have tread. We have riser going up, right? And then we have tread going more horizontal. In this case, true horizontal. Why? Because we're in 1 point. Later on in 2 point, that won't be the case. So here we have riser, right? And here we have tread. All right, so we have that. Same thing here. So here we could shade in. We'll do the treads. So we'll shade in the tread here so you can see it a little bit clearer. And we drew these stairs with perspective from a side view, and we drew them back too as well. And then I could finish this out right in through here. Look at that, so they come together. We won't see that because we're stepping. Now what's important to know is we could see somebody's foot. Like if you were walking up these stairs, here's the difference between these two. And this is why I wanted to draw this one in a sky plane. We could see somebody's step here, right? We could see somebody's foot in their shoe or barefoot step there. Here we would lose part of it. Why? Because this is the part where we end, where we see, right? But here's the rest of the stair in through here, and so their foot would disappear. And then it gets even more dramatic as we come up here. There's where the riser ends, but look at all the tread that we don't see right inside here. And so the foot would even disappear even further. I think that's important to note and understand as well. Okay, so there was exercise number 17, the beginning of a side view of stairs. So we had a side view of stairs, and we were at, again, a 45-degree slope. Now let's go on and do exercise 17B, and let's change our direction a little bit, and let's put one of the stairs completely in the sky plane. Okay, let's go on to that. Okay, exercise 17, part 2. Now we're going to do the same exercise, but we're going to put the stairs with the vanishing point a little bit opposite. So the stairs are going to be on the left of the vanishing point, so you get to see and feel that experience how that looks too. I think that's important as well. All right, so I'm going to throw out a horizon line here, and that's the horizon line. We'll label it over here, and that's also our eye level in this sense too as well. So we'll put our first stairs here, and we'll put the vanishing point then about right here. Seems reasonable. Good. And so in this one, this will be VP1 for stairs 1. We will put the stairs in the sky plane and the ground plane again. I think that's important to see that. And this, on this drawing over here, we'll put VP2 over here for stairs 2, and we'll put all the stairs in the sky plane, so you can see that how that looks as well. All right, so let's set in our first set of stairs here. I'll lay down the base right in through there, and then we'll put a dot there, and that's where our slope is going to be. Now our slope will just go, again, at 45 degrees, but we'll just go the opposite way now. So I've got my 45-degree ruler lined up, or my triangle lined up, and we'll put a slope out here. That'll be slope number 1. Okay, so we can see that here. That's 1. And let's bring now up our riser. So that was our tread, our bottom tread. Let's bring our riser up here about this high. Okay. So we'll bring our tread here, and then we'll put another slope to our drawing problem, slope number 2, right there. 45 degrees, they'll all be parallel, so they'll never touch. That's slope number 2. Right there, okay. Circle that in. Now we can start to, we have the exact scale now for our slope to help us with our riser here, and then our tread coming across there. Right, so we've got riser and tread. Okay. And we'll just keep going until I get past the horizon line. So we'll do a lot more here, there. Okay. Tread, riser, and then tread, and then one more riser, one more step right there. A riser and a tread makes a step. There we go. And I'll just leave that thickness there. So we've got to bring this over a little bit darker right through there. Okay. And then we're going to bring down the back of our stairs right in through there. There we are. Okay, down below. All the way through. And there we are there. Okay. All right, so we have that. So now we need depth, right? So from all points of our risers, our treads, and our back of our stairs, we need to go now to the vanishing point. So make sure this one right here, this bottom, the top line is the one I have. I got that extra bottom line in there. Make sure that you don't get confused by that. Okay, darkening in helps a little bit. Okay, so let me sharpen up a little bit here. And we'll get started. It gives you a moment to sharpen up as well. Get that pencil nice and sharp. So let's now take and give diminishment to our vanishing point 1 here. I like it because these are going to be going in a little bit different direction than we had prior, from here to there. Okay. All these diminishments go from our tread, corner of our riser, corner of our tread to our riser here, corner of our tread to riser there, right? Corner of our tread to riser here. Okay. And we'll need this one there. Just take your time through here and there. Now as we go underneath, we're starting to look up. We want to bring these invisible ones. Since we're looking through the stairs, we want to make sure we get those two. I missed that last time. It was a good lesson. Through here and up to our corner of our tread riser there. And then right through here. There we go, a little bit further. You can take it all the way back, or you can abbreviate a little bit. depends on how deep you go with your stairs here, and then I need to go inside here, right? I got that. And then we need one more, which is right here at the corner, going back to the vanishing point. So we have a lot more stairs now to deal with. Okay, so once I get that in, let's get that in, go back to the vanishing point. Okay, so let me clean up around our VP a little bit, keep working on our craftsmanship, always keep that nice and fresh and clean, best as we can. There we go. All right, so now we want to begin to control how deep we go in space. So let's go, I'm going to go about right here. I'm going to put a little dot so you can see it right there. Okay, that's how deep I want to go. Now I'm going to take my blue pencil and I'm going to draw the bottom back of our stairs right there. It ends there, and then I'm going to bring it up. You have a lot of tools in perspective. Okay, grab the right one. So from there we're going to go back to the back end, inside, through here, right there is where it'll meet. Be right there. Okay, nice and clean. There we go. All right, so there's the bottom of our stairs, and there's the back rising up to its back right there. Okay, now we can take this point and we can go 45 degrees up for slope number 3. That will help keep us in control right here, all the way up. And that is slope number 3. Remember that all of these are at 45 degrees. And of course they're parallel. All right, so now what we can do is we can go from this back here. I'll darken this in. This is going to be dark. Here to here. Kind of refresh over that diminishment line. Let's take that vertical up. And now we know where to stop, where the diminishment line is. Convergence line right there. We stop right there. Okay. And now we know where to go. We're inside the tread here, right to there. Right where they touch. Works out perfectly for us right there. Okay, so we'll darken in this line as we go. Take it slow. Here we go. There and there. Okay, where's our next one? Up. So we need a slope. Sorry about that. Okay, even I get rushed. So now we have this corner. We have our next slope. So we know where to stop. That's what that's for. So we know actually where to stop our depth and distance in space. There we go. So that's slope number 4 right there. Number 4, we'll label it 4. There we go. Remember, all of these again are at 45 degrees. All right, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to resharpen. Notice I sharpen pretty often. There we go. Okay. So let's bring up our riser for our next stair step. Bring that over. So now we know where to go. We're here to here and up right to there. There we go. Now let's bring over our tread from here to this point. Pretty easy still. Gets a little harder when we get into that sky plane, I think. Now we're going to bring up our riser from here to there, that second line. Right there on my drawing, right there. Yours might be a little different. Let me darken these in so we can start to see it. There, and there, and there. Remember, we're side view, so our slopes are parallel. Later on, they won't be. We'll have a demarcated inclined vanishing point or declined vanishing point, which really takes into account what? Rule number 3 and number 4 perspective, or you can hear it called auxiliary vanishing point, which is the same thing too as well. We bring over a tread here, we stop right there, and then we'll just draw over it to make it stronger and darker. Right there. Let's bring up a riser. Rising up. Okay. There we go. And let's make our corner of our stair stronger. Now we've got a tread. I'm going to need to draw a depth line from this point to the vanishing point. Sometimes we need it, sometimes we don't. Here's why. Just a little bit. It's going to be peeking over through here. Right through there, over to our vanishing point. Now I know where to end my tread. Right there. See how it lines up? It's going to be sneaky. Sometimes you don't draw everything you need. That's okay. You just go back when you need it. Like, oh, okay, I needed that, and you'd redraw it. It's all right. There's the corner of my riser and tread right there. I'll draw over, through. Now let's bring up our riser right through here. Remember, we're here. We have to follow this line until it meets here, and they should line up pretty well. Keep your pencil sharp. When you start to get thicker lines, just be careful. I try to shoot, like if I have a thicker line, like in the blue, I try to shoot for the middle of it. That helps a little bit. Try to keep your pencil sharper than my blue line was. All right, so there's the corner of our tread and riser right there. Okay. All right. Now we bring over our tread. Here's our point to there. There's where we're shooting for, right there. If you weren't sure, we'll bring it over. And I'm going to draw it lighter because now our foot would be disappearing. So we have to be careful. Here we can see the tread. Here we can see the tread. Here we can see the tread. See how it's starting to get closer to our horizon line. It's disappearing. Here it's disappeared and our riser has covered it, but we need to see it underneath to help, right? Because we have to go up to our next riser, right from there, right there. Okay, to that point right there. How do I know that? Because I look over, and here's the end of our riser here, and there it is here, right there. Okay, so let's darken this in a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. There and there, bingo. All right. And so now we need to bring a tread over. Okay, we need to bring a tread over to here. Right there through that we're shooting for, believe that. There we go, right there, okay. We have that, now we need to go vertical to our riser, right there. I'll darken this in a little bit more since that's the part we see, okay. And now we're at the top of the mountain. There we are, over, and we already made that connection. I'll just strengthen that in. Something I want to show you, here's the inside of the stairs. Go ahead and draw that tread just so it aligns up. You know that you did it right when this line and that line, this horizontal and this back part line up nicely. And there you go. You've got now a stairwell now moved over to the left of the vanishing point. We see the right side of it and they all rise up in through here. So we have our treads, which is really important to see here. Right, here's a tread. Here's a tread here we see. Right. Here's another tread that we see. Notice they're getting slimmer as we move up the composition, and then what happens? They disappear. They're still there, but they're inside out, meaning that the risers cover them. Here's a tread here, right? And then that last tread on top is here. That's why it's good to draw these inside out structurally as exercises. So when you sketch them out later, kind of feel their way through. In this stairs, if this stair was, let's say this is, now we can have an arbitrary scale that we set in. Let's say this is 1 foot or 1 unit. Let's say it's 12 inches, right? Well, this is 12 inches here. That's 1 foot there. And so is that. That's 1 foot, and so on. And so is this back here, now just in depth. And they're equal spaces. So perspective really helps us to control what could have been a very complex, or perhaps you're still thinking it's a complex system of stairs. Let's get a little more complex now. And let's go over to, let me grab a drink here of soda. And let's move over to our next drawing problem. We're going to recreate more steps, but they're all going to be now in the sky plane. Okay, so we're going to miss more of the ground plane. Maybe I should just leave this so we compare, so I won't change the camera. Okay, so let me sharpen up. You can finish up yours. This is stairs number 1. Stairs 1 and exercise 17B, so stairs 1. So this is exercise 17B, the second part. Let me sharpen up my pencil. Make sure we have nice sharp tools. We're going to need it for this one. It's going to get a little bit more difficult because they're all going to be now in the sky plane. You might have a situation where most of your stairs are way above your viewer's head, side, or later on in a two-point view. Okay, so exercise 17B, and then stairs number 2. I'm going to go to a cleaner sheet of paper so we can go in a little bit closer. I think this is going to help. You see, this is going to be the most difficult, I think, side view drawing problem that we'll have. I'm going to put the horizon line a little bit lower down on the picture plane in the camera, and this I think will help too as well. So sliding across a nice horizon line here, and we're going to put the vanishing point now. Get our camera straight about right here. Seems good for stairs 2, so I'll put VP 2 here. Sharpen up. Make sure that you sharpen up both your tinsels nice and cleanly, and get a nice fine point because you're going to need it, especially for clarity's sake if you haven't already done so. All right, so let's put the base of our stairs now about right here. I think that'll be good. Right in through there, and then I'll stop where the end of the stairs will be, and we'll go with, again, a 45-degree slope. Again, you could do it different slopes. You could do it 30 or 25 or whatever you want. It's just got to be parallel from any other slope and consistent. So there's our first slope right there at 45 degrees. That's one. Now let's bring up our risers here. So let's put a riser here, and then we'll bring it over to our tread there. Okay, we'll stop there, and then that's where we make, here's where we make our next slope to control our height of our risers. So that's 2 right there. Okay, so now we can go ahead and make the rest of our slopes, excuse me, our treads and risers. Here, up, number 2, right, and then over for our tread there, sorry. And we'll go up for our next tread, our riser. I gotta get them backwards. There's our riser. All right, here's our tread, right in through here. Okay, and let's do one more. Let's do 4. That'll be plenty, because it's going to get complex, because we're going to be looking inside out in a way. There's our riser, and our last tread we'll make a little bit thicker. Platforms here so somebody could stand. I think that'll help. And it's probably good if I bring this down just a little bit more so you can see that. Make sure you see that top really, really well. There we go. So that's our first one here, and then 2. You can see that now, just barely in the camera. There we go. That's it. Now you should see everything. Yeah, it's important. You want to make sure we're doing demos where you can see them. All right, so there's our platform where the rest of our people can stand up on. Okay, so I'll clean this up a little bit so that won't get so confusing. Okay, so now we need depth back to the vanishing point. Okay, so we need to draw diminishment from the vanishing point out to corners of our stairs. So we need one here, right, and here. We might forget some. We can always come back there. We're going to need one there for sure. Okay, and we're going to need one here. Okay, and we're going to need one there. So you have to be very careful, double and triple check your lines later on for the ones you really need, because we're going to get a lot coming together, so you have to be a drawing detective in a way. Drawing all our depth back to our VP here. Okay, and then also the very back of our stairs on our platform right there. And we can get that located. So now that we can finish out the back part of our stairs. So let's find, we want to end our stairs maybe about right here. Seems good. Okay. So I'm going to end it there. I'm going to darken this in because we'll see that clearly. That won't be obstructed, as well as this. Now these are floating stairs, if you will. So later on we could put these on a platform of stilts if we wanted to later on, but let's just keep them floating for now. There's our back right there. We'll darken that in here, and then now we're going to bring up the vertical after this line. Okay, now where does that meet? There's so many lines it gets confusing. So I'll show you the vertical. Remember, it's this one here, right? Here coming through here. So be careful. Where does that meet? It's going to be this one right there. There's the back of our platform, right in through here to there. That's hard to see. I got to be careful with that. Okay. All right, so we cut off our dimensional depth right through there. Okay. There's the height of our first riser. So we know where to stop that. It would be right there on that line right there. There we go. So there's our first riser and step right there. Okay, so now I'm going to resharpen. We've got two more slopes to draw, here and here. So let me sharpen my pencil, my graphite pencil, then we'll take our blue pencil and we'll draw those 45 degrees up. Okay. Right here, so through this line, right in through here. Be careful, don't worry about where it hits through here. It's right through that point, up and over. It's almost synonymous with 2. Look at that, that's really close. 2 and 4, or excuse me, number 3 are really, really close. So we'll put 3 here. And then number 4 slope is here. So it can get confusing. I can understand that. We'll come up with number 4. All right, so let's see how we make out here. Let's see how we do. All right, so we've got our first riser. Now let's bring our tread over. Where do we know to bring it? This is going to be challenging, right? We know to bring it about right here. So 2 things you want to follow. Even if you get the blue line wrong, you know that your slope wrong. You know that you can bring it over to here because that's going back to your vanishing point. So here's the tread right there where that meets up. Bingo. There's where your tread ends. Right there. Okay? That's challenging. There's where your tread ends, right there. Now we need a riser to come up. We know where your riser ends here. Okay? Here's the next riser we're shooting for. That point there to right here. That'll get us what we want. So let me bring my little triangle back over. Take it slow. I've messed these up before. If you mess yours up, don't worry about it. Do it again. Failure teaches you great things. Right through there. There's your next riser ending right there. This tread is easier because we can see it all. It's not covered up. That's the good news. So here's the next tread line, the beginning of the tread right there. Whoops, broke my pencil. Okay, let me resharpen. Gotta get a chance to check your work against mine. Maybe you can find if I make a mistake. That's okay. It happens before. All right. There we go. Now, let's bring our tread over. So I'll line it up. Where do we need our next tread? Right here. Corner, corner, corner coming through, meeting up horizontally to right. Looks like it's about right there. Let's line up our ruler, our T-square, nice and clean, right through there. To that second blue line, that's number 3 actually. That crazy, though they overlap a little bit there, a lot there actually. So there's our next tread to where our riser goes up. Where does our riser go to? Our next blue line, up to right to that line, correct? Let's see. Here's our riser there, coming on over. Yep, right through there. So now we can darken that in. That's the corner of our stair where our tread and our riser is. Right there. Okay. Now we need to bring over our tread here to here. So we're coming over that second top graphite line right there. So we bring over our horizontal with our T-square. Second graphite line where it meets that blue one. It's crazy how they're all come together. To be really careful. Thank goodness we're almost done. We need our next riser up to here, right to there. Where that blue line meets is our slope to there, and we're home free. Good thing we didn't have to do a ton of stairs, right? Oh, that would have been crazy. I don't want to be that mean to you. There and there. Okay, so now we've got floating stairs, and of course this tread can come back here as well. This is our platform in the back that can come along. Let's just make sure that we do that right in through to there as well. Okay. Now let's darken in our steps a little bit so that we can see what we're doing here. Remember now, we're looking up at our stairs, right? So we're floating. They're floating in a sense, so we can get more of a feel how difficult this is from more extreme vantage points of looking up. So let's color in now. Let's darken in. We'll take on the riser here so we can see this a little bit more cleanly and clearly. So there's our riser, right? Now, here, right here in my drawing, that's the riser of our next. We don't see any of the tread. The tread is underneath here, and it's completely closed off from our vision. Here's the next riser. I'll make it a little bit darker so you can see it. Here's the next riser right here. Only the parts that we can see right in through there. And I'm going to abut the edge so I can show you that a little bit quicker, and you can shade a little bit quicker. Okay. Right, so that was our next riser. Darken it in so you can see it. Here's that tread underneath there. Here's the tread, the secondary tread, second tread here of our second step, right in through there. Let's darken in now our third riser here. I'll abut this edge, move this out of the way. Go. Bend over. See how I butt that edge with my ruler? And I'm just going to color in, start coloring in the other riser too, or toning in. There we go. And then the other riser was right over here. I'll darken that in back here, make this a little different so you can see them. This is important to do so you can start to see what you've done and how this goes together. And of course, I need to come out with the other riser through here. There we go. Okay, and then let's bring this up and over. There we go. So now we can start to see this all together. The stairs now all together. So we have 4 steps. And of course we have our bottom here, and I'll fill this in just very hurried quickly. Have a hatching technique right there very quickly. So now we have that bottom looking from below up to these stairs. We see no treads. We see none. Now that we've colored them in a little bit more opaquely, right? That's what's difficult. But we know they're there. We have to have them there. So if somebody's coming up and stepping on these stairs, we will never see their shoes stepping on the treads to give them propulsion to go up and to rise up to the other. But we know they're there. We have to have them there so that we can complete out the rest of the risers and the rest of the stairs as well. That's what makes stairs, I think, a little bit difficult to begin with, is to keep all that in control. And how did we do that? We did that with depth, right? But also our sloping with our slope. So let's reinforce these even further from this point up. See how these all align very nicely here. And of course this one goes further. Why? Because I made this one thicker, so don't worry about that. Here, these all align together. Here we go, up and through. For 2, 2 and 3 were together there, which was pretty ironic. Here was 3 lined up in there. It was really odd sometimes those aligned together, and then of course 4 was right in through there. Now in your drawing, your drawing might be just a little bit off, and that's okay too, in terms of where your slopes were engaged at, and that's okay. So if we pull out just a little bit, you can see it a little bit further what I have there. Now we have an engaged exercise 17, right? So we have stairs that are truly from above. Okay, they are above us. So we're looking up in 1 point. Up in 1 point. Exercise 17B, part 2 there. All right, there you go. Congratulations. All right, so you got through exercises 17. Now let's go on to 18, and we'll change up the position of the stairs, and our sloping we will change our slopes to as well in terms of the positioning, and then we'll create an auxiliary or incline vanishing point. It'll be a little bit more challenging even than that one. All right, let's go on to exercise 18.